Good morning. It's good to see you all here this morning. My name is Elaine Faithful. I serve as the president-elect for our congregation, and I am part of the Chrysalis Covenant group, which is bringing you today's service. If I can do this a moment, introduce my partners in crime. Susan Clay, Meg Williamson, I thought I was going to do that. Meg Williamson, Leslie Visage, and Rhonda, where are you?
Rhonda's over here.
Yeah, Rhonda Powell. Did I forget anybody? Oh, and Paula Jorge. Paula Jorge. Paula Husenfeld. Let's see, let me find my opening. We are happy to see faces of old and new friends gathered here this morning. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Clemson is not merely a tolerant community, but a truly welcoming congregation. We receive here gladly, you are received here gladly, regardless of your racial or ethnic background, your age, your economic status, your political affiliation, gender expression, or sexual identity. Our diversity is what unites us and makes us wiser and stronger. If you would like information about the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Clemson, I encourage you to check out our website. I will mention, be watching, our website will be launching its new platform here in the very near future. And so new guests, new friends, and old friends, I encourage you to watch that page. There are many spiritual paths in the world, and you will find more than one in this congregation. You will not be judged for your beliefs. In fact, here your choices are respected and encouraged to flourish. I hope that today's service will fill a place inside of you that feels hungry for something deeper. Please accept our invitation to return every Sunday. Is very different than the last. I have a few announcements, and I'd like to share with you this morning. We are beginning the process of welcoming and searching for a new settled minister. And in the coming weeks, you will be asked to participate in that process. On August the 28th, when we have, and I forgot to bring it up here. Has anybody got their little water thing? Okay. We're having an in-gathering service, and each of you have been given a small film canister. Many of you have already gathered water from your travels. If you haven't gathered your water yet, I encourage you to take it out of your tap and imagine where you've been, or go outside and capture some of this wonderful rain that we're having. But next Sunday, we will gather together and pour all of our waters into a pool together and remind each other that we are coming back together in community and sharing and blending. And these waters will be sacred and will be used for services throughout the year. I also want to make an announcement that the hospitality is provided today for those of you who are here today to come and have coffee with us. It will be in the fellowship hall just like it typically is, but you'll see a different setup because we're having a luncheon afterwards. That's part of the UUFC's planned giving program that they're holding this afternoon that will begin promptly at noon. It is a pre-registered event, but if you make a decision today that you would like to participate, all we do is encourage you to allow those who've pre-registered to be seated first. I also want to let you know that our regular religious exploration classes for the kids will begin on September the 11th. I'm hoping that we will begin seeing many more children after they return from all of their travels and begin their school year. They'll be available to come and visit here in our services because they're always a joy to our services. And finally, on August the 27th at 5 o'clock, we will have our first of many happy hour movie nights. Starts at 5 o'clock. You're encouraged to bring your refreshments to share with everyone else. And the movie will be HBO's The James. Let's see. Finally, I realize that there are extroverts and introverts among us, among the new people who are visiting, who have come back after a period of time, who've been here 2 or 3 Sundays in a row. I'd like to invite you to introduce yourself if you feel comfortable doing so and tell us just a little bit about yourself. Okay, somebody's got to be encouraged and do the first move. Go, girl.
I'll be first. Hi, everybody. I'm Mary Elizabeth Land. I taught at Clemson many, many years ago, but my mother-in-law lives here in Pendleton, so I stopped by the church 3 weeks ago for the first time. I was so impressed by your vibe and your spirit, and I just sort of felt very at home right away, and so I thank y'all for that. This is my 3rd week in a row, and I'm just very, very happy to be here.
We're delighted you're here. Now, do you like to be called Mary or Mary Elizabeth?
Mary Elizabeth.
Okay, great. All right. Anyone else would like to introduce themselves? Hi.
I'm Mara, this is Matt, and that's Isaac and Evelyn in the back. This is our first time here. And actually, Meg reached out to us about a letter writing maybe a week or 2 ago.
Yes.
I couldn't come to, but it just sparked up. We have been in Unitarian churches before, and we thought we would check it out.
Welcome, welcome. Just for those who haven't introduced yourselves yet, we will have a coffee hour, and I do hope you'll come and enjoy that opportunity to talk with us closer. Anybody else want to introduce themselves? Well, let's do something that we do every Sunday morning is stand and to greet each other. And I encourage our guests to be, I encourage our members to welcome our new guests. seated, you can go ahead and remain seated. We're going to sing, I Know This Rose Will Open, but we're going to do something we haven't done in a long time. We're going to sing it as a round. Susan Clay and Dave Sanders. Oh, there you are.
So, all the same moments, we're going to sing it through twice, the news, and for anybody who doesn't know it. Then we'll stop, and we'll split up into 3 parts, and it'll be me doing one part, and then you guys want to do the second part? Do you still want to do part
396.
Okay, do you want to do part 3? So, should we go ahead and split people up? Let's split people up now. So, I'm going to say right through here, well, now, you guys, and with your friends. So, this group is going to be with me, but we're going to sing it through twice all together first. Okay, so you guys want to split up? You're going to be in the middle group.
My group.
Sure, yeah. Colin's going to play it through once so we can get the melody in case anybody doesn't know the piece. Then we'll do twice through. Then we'll stop and we'll do a round. And just watch your person if you get good.
You're right. I'm going to play it once through,
Yeah,
and then they can sing it once through, and then
right. We'll sing it twice.
Okay.
Gretchen Haley, Space for New Possibility. What's going to happen? Will everything be? What can I do? In these days, we find ourselves, too often, stuck with these questions on repeat. What's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do? We grasp at signs and markers, articles of news and analysis, Facebook memes, and forwarded emails, as if the new zodiac, capable of forecasting all that life may yet bring our way, as if we could prepare, as if life had ever made any promises of making sense or turning out the way we thought, as if we are not also actors in this unfolding story. For this hour, we gather to surrender to the mystery, to release ourselves from the needing to know, the yearning to have it all already figured out, and also the burden of believing we either have all the control or none. Here in our song and our silence, our stories and our sharing, we make space for a new breath, a new healing, a new possibility to take root. That is courage. Forged in the fire of our coming together and felt in the spirit that comes alive in this act of faith, that we believe still a new world is possible, that we are creating it already, here and now. Come, let us worship together.
Now have lit the chalice of our faith, and I would like to say these chalice lighting words, Building the Possible by Reverend Scott Taylor. May this flame cast the light toward the coming days, reminding us that the future is not simply a place where we are going, but a place that we are creating. The path of new possibilities will not be found, but made. A new world is waiting to be built. May our time together light the way. And now I would like to ask you to join me in saying the words of affirmation, which is on your sheet there. We gather together in the spirit of love, with justice as our guide. This is our chosen covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth with freedom, and to care for one another. And now we will have the time for all ages with Rhonda Powell.
Good morning. 2.5 years of interesting times, and I have managed to not read you a story with slides behind me yet, so we'll just learn all this together. We are not going to sing the children out today. We're going to stay in the service, just FYI. Stella Luna by Janelle Cannon. In a warm and sultry forest far, far away, there once lived a mother fruit bat and her new baby. Oh, how Mother Bat loved her soft, tiny baby. I'll name you Stella Luna, she crooned. Each night, Mother Bat would carry Stella Luna clutched to her breast as she flew out to search for food. One night, as Mother Bat followed the heavy scent of ripe fruit, an owl spied her. On silent wings, the powerful bird swooped down upon the bats. Dodging and shrieking, Mother Bat tried to escape, but the owl struck again and again, knocking Stella Luna into the air. Her baby wings were as limp and useless as wet paper. Down, down she went, faster and faster, into the forest below. The dark, leafy tangle of branches caught Stella Luna as she fell. One twig was small enough for Stella Luna's tiny feet. Wrapping her wings about her, she clutched the thin branch, trembling with cold and fear. Mother, Stella Luna squeaked, where are you? By daybreak, the baby bat could hold on no longer. Down, down again she dropped. Flump! Stella Luna landed head first in a soft, downy nest, startling the 3 baby birds who lived there. Stella Luna quickly clambered from the nest and hung out of sight below it. She listened to the babble of the 3 birds. What was that? Cried Flap. I don't know, but it's hanging by its feet, chirped Flitter. Shh, here comes Mama, hissed Pip. Many, many times that day, Mama Bird flew away, always returning with food for her babies. Stella Luna was terribly hungry, but not for the crawly things that Mama Bird brought. Finally, though, the little bat could bear it no longer. She climbed into the nest, closed her eyes, and opened her mouth. Plop! In dropped a big green grasshopper. Stella Luna learned to be like the birds. She stayed awake all day and slept at night. She ate bugs, even though they tasted awful. Her bat ways were quickly disappearing, except for one thing. Stella Luna still liked to sleep hanging by her feet. Once, when Mama Bird was away, the curious baby birds decided to try it too. When Mama Bird came home, she saw 8 tiny feet gripping the edge of the nest. Eek! She cried. Get back up here this instant. You're going to fall and break your necks. The birds clambered back into the nest, but Mama Bird stopped Stella Luna. You are teaching my children to do bad things. I will not let you back into this nest unless you promise to obey all the rules of this house. Stella Luna promised. She ate bugs without making faces. She slept in the nest at night, and she didn't hang by her feet. Stella Luna behaved as a good bird should. All the babies grew quickly. Soon the nest became crowded. Mama Bird told them it was time to learn to fly. One by one, Pip, Flitter, Flap, and Stella Luna jumped from the nest. Their wings worked. I'm just like them, thought Stella Luna. I can fly too. Pip, Flitter, and Flap landed gracefully on a branch. Stella Luna tried to do the same. How embarrassing. I will fly all day, Stella Luna told herself. Then no one will see how clumsy I am. The next day, Pip, Flitter, Flap, and Stella Luna went flying far from home. They flew for hours, exercising their new wings. The sun is setting, warned Flitter. We had better go home or we will get lost in the dark, said Flap. But Stella Luna had flown far ahead and was nowhere to be seen. The three anxious birds went home without her. All alone, Stella Luna flew and flew until her wings ached and she dropped into a tree. I promised not to hang by my feet, Stella Luna sighed. So she hung by her thumbs and soon fell asleep. She didn't hear the soft sound of wings coming near. Hey, a loud voice said. Why are you hanging upside down? Stella Luna's eyes opened wide. She saw a most peculiar face. I'm not upside down. You are, Stella Luna said. But you're a bat. Bats hang by their feet. You're hanging by your thumbs, so that makes you upside down, the creature said. I'm a bat. I am hanging by my feet, and that makes me right side up. Stella Luna was confused. Mama Bird told me I was upside down, and she said I was wrong. Wrong for a bird, maybe, but not for a bat. More bats gathered around to see the strange young bat who behaved like a bird. Stella Luna told them her story. You ate bugs? Stuttered one. You slept at night? Gasped another. How very strange, they all murmured. Wait, let me look at this child. A bat pushed through the crowd. An owl attacked you? She asked. Sniffing Stella Luna's fur, she whispered, You are Stella Luna. You are my baby. You escaped the owl? Cried Stella Luna. You survived? Yes, said Mother Bat as she wrapped her wings around Stella Luna. Come with me and I'll show you where to find the most delicious fruit. You'll never have to eat another bug as long as you live. But it's nighttime, Stella Luna squeaked. We can't fly in the dark or we'll crash into trees. We're bats, said Mother Bat. We can see in the darkness. Come with us. Stella Luna was afraid, but she let go of the tree and dropped into the deep blue sky. Stella Luna could see. She felt as though rays of light shone from her eyes. She was able to see everything in her path. Soon the bats found a mango tree, and Stella Luna ate as much of the fruit as she could hold. I'll never eat another bug as long as I live, cheered Stella Luna as she stuffed herself full. I must tell Pip, Flitter, and Flap. The next day, Stella Luna went to visit the birds. Come with me and meet my bat family, said Stella Luna. Okay, let's go, agreed Pip. They hung by their feet, and they fly at night, and they eat the best food in the world, Stella Luna explained to the birds on the way. As the birds flew among the bats, Flap said, I feel upside down here. So the birds hung by their feet. Wait until dark, Stella Luna said excitedly. We will fly at night. When night came, Stella Luna flew away. Pip, Flutter, and Flap leapt from tree to tree to follow her. I can't see a thing, yelled Pip. Neither can I, howled Flitter. Ah! Shrieked Flap. They're going to crash, gasped Stella Luna. I must rescue them. Stella Luna swooped about, grabbing her friends in the air. She lifted them to a tree, and the birds grasped a branch. Stella Luna hung from the limb above them. "We're safe," said Stella Luna. Then she sighed. "I wish you could see in the dark, too." "We wish you could land on your feet," Flitter replied. Pip and Flap nodded. They perched in silence for a long time. "How can we be so different and feel so much alike?" mused Flitter. "And how can we feel so different and be so much alike?" wondered Pip. "I think it's quite a mystery," Flap chirped. "I agree," said Stella Luna. "But we're friends, and that's a fact." The end.
Every week in our church, we take up an offering of funds and food for the community pantry. It is good to remind ourselves from time to time that the offering is symbolic as well as practical. We know that it is through pledges we build our budget and fund our programs and ministries of worship and our religious education and finance the comfort and beauty of our building. And we know that we could easily submit these pledge checks to the church at any convenient time. But we passed a plate during our worship service to make a community expression of thanks for the blessings of abundance to visibly bring in the harvest at this most cherished hour of our week. Our offering says it is the act of giving is as essential to our spiritual well-being as anything else we do here on Sunday mornings. The morning offering will now be given and received with gratitude.
Thank you kindly for all your gifts. And I guess they're going to Clemson Community Care, all the food gifts. And as we passed around the plate, we also collected joys and concerns that people have. Okay, so we have a joy from Mike Cole. His wife Jane has a birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Jane. Put a stone in for Jane. Paula and Jorge, they're celebrating that their nephew returned safely to Japan to reunite with his son and daughter after pandemic separation of 3 years. That's wonderful. Karen Sanders has an announcement. We will have a potluck following next week's service to celebrate our in-gathering. Yes, that will be very nice. Everyone can bring their water and we'll contribute the water to the bowl, and then we'll have a potluck. So everyone bring your best dish, and it ought to be really fun. Okay, I have one from myself. Through the GoFundMe that I set up for our friend Ajmal and through other avenues, I've raised $1,250 for his dental work that he needs desperately. Many thanks to all who have contributed so generously. Both I and Ajmal really appreciate it, and I think he should be able to use some of that money to get the root canal that is most bothering him right now. He's got another one that can wait, but we're working it out. Anyway, so thank you all. I appreciate it. Okay, wow. UUFC loves Mary Alice Mayberry. Her 104th birthday was last week. And I will put in a stone for that.
As prayer and meditation today, I offer up one of our favorite poems by one of our favorite poets, of course, Mary Oliver, The Summer Day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean. The one who is flung out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
It's been a long, dark night, and I've been waiting for the morning. It's been a long, hard fight, but I see a brand new day dawning. I've been looking for the sunshine, 'cause I ain't seen it in so long. Everything's gonna work out fine. Everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay. I can see the light of a clear blue morning. I can see the light of a brand new day. I can see the light of a clear
That's one beautiful song, isn't it? Okay, now my reading is called Vahafta. It's by Aurora Levins Morales. Vahafta is a Jewish word that means, and you shall love. This poem is more about possibility, since that's our theme today. Say these words when you lie down and when you rise up, when you go out and when you return. In times of mourning and in times of joy, inscribe them on your doorpost, embroider them on your garments, tattoo them on your shoulders, teach them to your children, your neighbors, your enemies. Recite them in your sleep, here in the cruel shadow of empire. Another world is possible. Thus spoke the prophet Roque Dalton. Altogether they have more death than we, but altogether we have more life than they. There's more bloody death in their hands than we could ever wield, unless we lay down our souls to become them, and then we will lose everything. So instead, imagine winning. This is your sacred task. This is your power. Imagine every detail of winning, the exact smell of the summer street in which no one has been shot, the muscles you have never unclenched from worry, gone soft as newborn skin, the sparkling taste of food when we know that no one on earth is hungry, that the beggars are fed, that the old man under the bridge and the woman wrapping herself in thin sheets in the back of a car, and the children who suck on stones, nest under a flock of roofs that keep multiplying their shelter. Lean with all your being towards that day when the poor of the world shake down a rain of good fortune out of the heavy clouds, and justice rolls down like waters. Defend the world in which we win as if it were your child. It is your child. Defend it as if it were your lover. It is your lover. When you inhale and when you exhale, breathe the possibility of another world into the 37.2 trillion cells of your body until it shines with hope. Then imagine more. Imagine rape is unimaginable. Imagine war is scarcely a credible rumor. That crimes of our age, the gross inhumanities of greed, the sheer and astounding shamelessness of it, the vast fortunes made by stealing lives, the horrible normalcy it came to have, is unimaginable to our heirs, the generations of the free. Don't waver. Don't let despair sink its sharp teeth into the throat with which you sing. Escalate your dreams. Make them burn so fiercely that you can follow them down any dark alleyway of history and not lose your way. Make them burn clear as a starry drinking gourd over the grim fog of exhaustion, and keep walking. Hold hands, share water, keep imagining so that we and the children of our children's children may live. Thank you.
There are a couple of things that I neglected to mention in our opening remarks. First of all, Reverend Christina Branham Martin is part of our Chrysalis Covenant group, and we are filling the pulpit today because today's her day off to be with her family. I also want to call your attention again to the Rainbow Yard Bomb. Yarn bomb. I always have a hard time saying that. That's around our oak tree here in the center of our courtyard. Our Chrysalis group initiated this project in order to recognize that we are a welcoming community. And as I listed earlier in the service, all are welcome here, no matter what your faiths are, whatever, no matter who you love, no matter where you're from, no matter the color of your skin, you are welcome here. The theme today is embracing possibility. If you told a caterpillar that one day it would become a butterfly, would the caterpillar believe you? Imagine the possibility that this plump, fat worm with short little stubby legs that munches leaves all day long would become transformed into this elegant, beautiful creature with large, elegant wings, long, slender legs, and a curling straw-like tongue that sips nectar from flowers. Doubtless such transformation is impossible, but it's not. How does the caterpillar know that it will form a chrysalis? Does it know what will happen when it does? Does it have any idea that its body will break down into a kind of genetic goop, that its tissues and very cells will disintegrate, and then it will digest itself before being reborn into a completely new form? I wonder, does it feel a sense of fear, or is it eager? Is it answering a call that only it can hear? The idea that a creature would be willing to undergo such destruction of itself seems impossible, but it's not. So much of our lives and our worlds are limited by what is imaginable, by what we believe about what is real and solid and true and possible based on our surroundings and our circumstances. Can the caterpillar believe, based only on the reality of its own present circumstance, that it will grow to be a butterfly? I would suspect never. It's not about belief, it's about faith. It's not about what's real, it's about what we can imagine. It's not about what other people tell us we can do or be. It's about the call we feel deep within ourselves. The knowledge of who we are, what we are meant to do, and who we are meant to become is buried there deep inside of us, inside of our very cells. When a caterpillar breaks down into its chrysalis, inside its chrysalis, there are highly organized groups of cells that survive this destruction. These groups of cells first form when a caterpillar is still in its worm state, just coming out of its egg. And then they wait dormant until it's time for the caterpillar to become the butterfly. Then they direct the process of transformation. Each tiny cluster of cells is in charge of a different part of the body, the eyes, the legs, the wings, and so forth. These are all important groups of cells, are called imaginal discs. Imaginal discs. These cells carry the imagination of flight, of wings, of a new form for a new world. Something deep within itself held in just a couple of cells, knows and directs the caterpillar's destiny. We can't just imagine the impossible to seem possible before we believe in it, work towards it. We have to imagine the impossible and join together and work to make it possible. Educator, writer, scholar, and spoken artist Willada Imarashi has said that all organizing is science fiction. Organizers and activists dedicate their lives to envisioning and creating another world, a world none of us has seen, a world that current reality of our circumstances says should not be possible. But we have faith that a different world and a different reality is possible, all evidence to the contrary. We have to imagine the seemingly impossible, not only for ourselves individually, but for all of us. a world free from oppression and exploitation, a world free of war, a world where people have safe homes and enough to eat, a world where all life is honored. Can we imagine a world with no prisons, no police, no borders, no weapons, no wars? We need to. It's impossible until it's not. Once the imagination is unshackled, says Ismarisha, liberation is limitless. But oh, how hard it is to be free of our imagination from the constraints of what we have been told about what is real and what is possible. Given the current state of politics in this country, it is so hard to imagine a reality in which the United States is not ruled by two warring, ideological, divided political parties. But we can imagine a reality in which instead of two behemoth parties, the United States could have 8 political parties represented in the national legislature, like Iceland does. How about a reality in which the original indigenous nations of this land have true sovereignty and equitable representation and decision-making power? How about a reality in which the United States, as we currently know it, no longer exists? Can we imagine the realities beyond that? We need to. It's impossible until it's not. 2.5 years ago, we would have believed it was impossible to abandon our fellowship building and to have worship online. We lost contact with many of our cherished friends and members. Many of us grieve their continual loss, but that there is also possibility that is happening around us. Last Sunday, 11 new people attended the new UU workshop. They represent an even larger percentage of new folks who have visited and are becoming part of our religious community. We are on our way to returning to normalcy, a return to the way things were before, and that's a good thing. But as artist Kate Khadija said in the beginning of the pandemic, if we get this right, we'll never go back to normal, because what is normal, what is possible and real, is what led us to this place. This place of rampant inequality, climate catastrophe, needless suffering and death, and a deeply divided nation. I want to pose to you today that the work of imagining the impossible and then working to bring it to life is a spiritual practice. And it's the most important spiritual practice of our lives. Supporting each other is making the impossible possible, is the only way that we will survive as individuals, as people, and as a species. And it starts right here. It starts right now. It starts every time we have faith in an impossibility and to work to make it real. The reinvigoration of wilderness, a liberatory political structure, and a world without violence. It starts when we embrace the challenge of imagining the best that this fellowship can be, the biggest and most impossible ways we can live into our values, and then work together to make those impossibilities come to life. For 2 years, the disruption of everything that felt normal about this congregation is a moment when we can ask, who can we be that we have never been before, beyond the normal? What could this fellowship do if we weren't constrained by the thought of possible? What if we are currently caterpillars? What transformation are we being invited into? At this time in the life of the UU Fellowship, we are at a crucial turning point, as is our society, our country, our world. We have a choice to make. Will we take a leap of faith, and will we be transformed? Are we willing to undergo a destruction of all that we know as order to be reborn into a new form? Or will we stick with what feels good and familiar, most normal and most possible? Can you imagine beyond that? Seriously, close your eyes and imagine what this church could be. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship is entering a period of enormous possibility with the growth of our congregation and the search for a new settled minister. I know I'm not the only one who is longing for a fellowship for Unitarian Universalism to transform into a new normal, to grow and evolve into the best of what we can be. Does it seem impossible? Don't forget the magic of the butterfly was buried deep inside the humble caterpillar long before it entered chrysalis. Remember that Remember those imaginal discs. The essence was there all along since before the caterpillar was born. It just had to allow what was inside it to direct beyond the limits of what was possible. The imaginal discs of who and what this church community can be, of who we are meant to become, are already within you and me. You see, I wouldn't be urging you forward if I didn't know you already and have what I need, that you already have what we need to succeed. Resistance to moving beyond these comfortable, normal times comes from not believing that together we already have everything we need to be transformed. But it's not about belief. Have faith that it is in fact possible, and know that trying is worth the risk. So my charge to you today, my dear friends, is to imagine, to resist the temptation to return to normalcy, to seize every opportunity to be reborn into something seemingly impossible and yet spectacular. Because, my friends, we must hold the seemingly impossible not only as possible, but as sacred. Willida Amarashi said, "Are we brave enough to imagine beyond the boundaries of the real and do the hard work of sculpting reality from our dreams?" For me, the answer is clear. Political activist and author Arundhati Roy once wrote, "Another world is not only possible, she is on her way. Maybe many of us won't be here to greet her, but on a quiet day, if I listen carefully, I can hear her breathing." May we all work to sculpt a reality from our dreams and support each other in doing so, and together bring another, better world into being. May we all have faith in the impossible, because it is only impossible until it's not. Amen, and blessed be. Now, if you will join me now in singing hymn number 1031 in your blue hymnal.
An ending or merely a prelude to a more glorious beginnings by Michael A. Schuler. We have reached the end of this time for the gathering of memory and for letting imagination play with future possibilities. We have enjoyed the magic moments and edified each other. Shall it be concluded then? Or will this adventure now commenced continue? Our separate paths converging, meeting, merging. In the unending quest for love more perfect, the joyous struggle for meeting more sufficient and life more abundant. Is this the ending, to be an ending, or merely a prelude to new, more glorious beginnings? I pose the question. In your heart lies the answer. Go out. No, Paula. As we come to the end of our worship today, we arrive on the threshold of a new week. Our charge to you today is to imagine the possibility of being reborn into something impossible.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I know the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of men. Imagine all